Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We'll continue the Ihya Ulumuddin, and Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, now talks about Junud al-Qalb. The word Junud from Jundi, like a soldier. What are the aspect of the heart that really bring the benefits or harm to the heart? قال ثلاثة أصناف, the three types, kinds. صنف باعث ومستحث. That one of aspect of this is certain things that it bring and either نفع or cause harm. إما لجلب النافع الموافق كالشهوة. باعث ومستحث, the thing that incite you, encourage you to bring something of benefit كالشهوة. إما لدفع الضار المنافي كالغضب. When he talk about غضب here, which is anger, he talk about in the way that is in the positive sense of it. It could go both ways. The غضب, as he's going to explain here, there's a غضب that come from shaitan, and there's this distaste, dislike, you become upset with conditions, and that sometimes is good, because when you become angry with yourself, upset with yourself, that why did I harm this person? Why did this to this person? That is positive. Okay? But he called this concept al-irada. وقد يعبر عن هذا الباعث بالإرادة. Ability of doing things. Either fulfilling a desire or pushing a harm. Okay? الثاني هو المحرك للأعضاء لتحصيل هذه المقاصد. يعبر عن هذا الثاني بالقدرة. The second is what make a person move and the limbs of a person commit a particular act that make them, he or she, fulfill their desire or push away a harm might happen to them. He says this is called qudra. The capability and ability being able to do so. And here he says this is the physical aspect of human body, that your limbs and your body, physical aspect of your body, being able to push this harm or to fulfill a shahwa. وقال وهي جنود مبثوثة في سائر الأعضاء لا سيما العضلات منها والأوتار. Your muscles, your nerve system, and everything else help you to be able to fulfill a desire or push a harm. والثالث وهو المدرك المتعرف للأشياء كالجواسيس وهي قوة البصر والسمع والشم والذوق واللمس. And those, he said, those are the things that, like the spies, things that make you get to know things, and those are, we call them the senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. وهي مبثوثة في الأعضاء. Okay. وهي مبثوثة في أعضاء معينة. Specific limbs of the body. You have all of this ability, or the senses. The sight is in the eye, the hearing is in the ears, the smell is in the nose, ذوق is in the tongue, and the lumps is what? In the hands or in the skin. ويعبر عن هذا بالعلم والإدراك. That the expression of this and the manifestation of that is knowledge and ability to come to know, of conscious, being conscious, aware of. Okay. ومع كل واحد من هذه الجلود الباطنة جلود ظاهرة وهي الأعضاء المركبة من الشحم واللحم والعصب والدم والعصب التي عدت آلات لهذه الجنود. And for every one of those, there's a physical aspect of the ear itself, of the eye itself, that Allah equipped them to be able to fulfill those needs. فإن قوة البطش إنما هي في الأصابع. He said, ability to hurt somebody, to harm somebody, it's in the hand of someone. وقوة البصر إنما هي بالعين. The ability to see, it is in the eye. وكذلك سائر القوى. ولسنا نتكلم في الجنود الظاهرة عن الأعضاء فإنها من عالم الملك والشهادة، إنما نتكلم الآن فيما أيدت به من جنود لم تروها. وهذا الصنف الثالث هو المدرك من هذه الجملة، ينقسم لما قد أسكن المنازل الظاهرة وهي الحواس الخمسة. He says that he is not dealing with what appear to be obvious aspect of this limbs and senses and so forth, but he dealing with the inner aspect of it. Okay. Let me just explain what Imam Ghazali is saying here. He's saying that in order for you to live your life with using this heart, there's certain aspect of your life that you're, as a being, as a human being, you react to needs called desires. You try to preserve yourself, that called protecting yourself from harm. And then you have the tools of doing all of these things, which is ability and free will of executing things. Human beings have a choice to drink or not to drink, have a choice to sleep or not to sleep. Those are the power of the human being has in committing something right or doing something wrong. You do things through your senses. That's why the Quran says, إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. والله خلقكم أخرجكم من بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا وجعلكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون. Allah brought you out of the womb of your mother. You don't know anything. You come out with no knowledge whatsoever. Then Allah equipped you with the hearing, with the sight, with the thinking, so that you may become grateful. But قليلا ما تشكرون. Imam al-Ghazali divided this senses to two dimensions. One of them is the physical senses of smell, of seeing, of hearing, and there's the inner dimension, the internal hearing, the internal sight. What is the internal sight? By the way, is people seeing this?
Yes.
Is somebody watching now?
Yes.
Okay, good. The inner side, because I move like this, that I have to stay, if I know that some people are watching this now. The inner eyes, or the inner side. The inner side is the basira, and the outward side, it is the eyes, is this side. There's some people see with their basira, not with their basar. And there's some people see only with their basar, but they have no basira. That's why the Quran said, إنها لا تعمل أبصار ولكن تعمل القلوب التي في الصدور. It's not the eyes that become blind, it's the heart that become blind. And then some people have blind hearts. They may have good sight, but the heart is blind. There's some people have good hearing, but they don't hear. There's some people, they have taste, but they have bad tasting. You know, dhawq. There's dhawq in a spiritual sense too. You taste things and you can feel them if you have the right sense for them. And that's why actually one of my teacher, Sudan, was a blind sheikh. rahimahullah, and he asked one of the children to recite the surah that he asked us to memorize. For the kid took advantage, the sheikh is blind, he opened the book. That in middle school. And the sheikh walked from the beginning of the class all the way to the end of the class and put his hand on the book. Walk without any help, walk like this among the desk until come to the area where the young man read it, he put his hand in. And he said to the young man, إنها لا تعمل الأبصار ولكن تعمل القلوب التي في الصدور. It's not the heart, the eyes that become blind, but it's the heart become blind. For what we understand today from this segment of Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, saying that فإن الإنسان بعد ضرورة الشيء يغمض عينه فيدرك بصورته في نفسه وهو الخيال ثم تبقى تلك الصورة معه بسبب شيء يحفظه وهو الجند الحافظ ويتفكر فيما حفظ فيركب بعد ذلك إلى البعض ثم يتذكر ما قد نسيه ويعود إليه. يعني he talking about the place of conscious. If you see something, you see that tree, and then you close your eyes, you can imagine the tree because you know what it looks like. Therefore, you reserve and have saved this picture in the head. That's why the scholar says when a person looks at something haram, it is not only the sight that you looked at, but the picture that stays in the mind. And that's one of the most dangerous things today is indecent material in internet. It being proven, it damages people psychologically and mentally. Because people deposit negative things and the wrong things in their mind. And that's why they become addicted. There's addictions of watching indecent materials, pornography and other things in the internet, because of people seeing things and it stays with them in their mind and they cannot take it out. Okay? And that's why when you look at things, you have to remember the inner aspect of it and impact of it on your heart, impact it on your soul. That's why they say that the haram looking, the haram watching or seeing things not acceptable is like an arrow. سهم من سهام إبليس come to your heart. It stays there. It is stained the heart. You cannot hear me? Now you can? Okay. Now it's stained the heart. Therefore, you have to remember that he's saying that الدماغ يخلو that the mind will become free, doesn't have those things, if you don't input on them. There's tafakkur and tadakkur comes from your senses. You touch something and it stays in you, the feeling of it stays in your mind. You smell something and if a person mentions it to you, you can remember how it smells, the perfume. Okay? And if you look at something and it's not there and you remember it, you can remember the picture. The most important aspect of this, that the heart is the most important organ that Allah created. People don't take it serious. القلوب مشغولة, heart are busy, and they're full of junk. A person needs to remove the junk from the heart. Because in the order of the heart to connect with Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the heart has to be free of noise. And many people don't realize how precious, how much, waste they have in their heart until they start removing some of those things. Now, let me tell you something, that because the heart and the mind keep those pictures, you need to replace them with something else in order for you to move this heart forward. But if the heart is stuck in its past of sins and become a prisoner of its whims and desires, the heart cannot be set free unless you clean the heart from what have been in it. As Imam Ghazali saying, this fikr of the heart that comes through the senses. Then he says why he wrote these things. He says وشرح ذلك بحيث يدركه فيه فهم الضعفاء بضرب الأمثلة يطول. He said that I'm not going to make a lot of parables and examples, then the book could be a long book. ومقصود مثل هذا الكتاب أن ينتفع به الأقوياء والفحول من العلماء ولكننا نجتهد في تفهيم الضعفاء بضرب الأمثلة لقرب ذلك من الفهم. He said this kind of book was meant to be for the strong and the scholars, but I'm going to do my best, he said, that to set more parables so that the person have the simplest mind be able to understand this. Now he said بيان أمثلة القلب مع جنوده الباطنة. He gave you parables of these junud, those soldiers, the hidden soldiers of the heart. اعلم أن جندي الغضب والشهوة قد ينقادان للقلب انقيادا تاما. He said you must know that those two soldiers of anger and desires, they might submit themselves to the heart completely, with complete submissions. Najib, are you with us?
Yes.
Is this what he's saying?
Yes, I can read it if you want.
Yes.
Know that the two armies of anger and appetence are sometimes perfectly obedient to the heart, which helps it along the path it journeys, and their companionship on the journey that lies before it is desirable. But these two also disobey the heart at times, in trespass and revolt, until they gain the mastery over it and bring it into subjection. This results in destroying it and cutting it off from its journey, by which it might reach eternal happiness.
Yes. Thank you. This is so beautiful. Imam al-Ghazali is genius. I've always said I cannot praise him, enough of what he have done for us here. He says that you naturally get angry, you get upset, but you get upset for what? Some people get in anger for nothing, and anger become rage and become, destructive. But some people get upset and said, why I committed this sin? Why have missed the prayer, Fajr prayer? I'm not happy, I'm upset. So that they will not miss it again. But if he or she miss Fajr, and the sun is up, and they get up like, what are you going to do? I'm gonna pray Fajr. And they brushing the teeth 10 o'clock in the morning and praying Fajr. They don't know the Fajr or Duha. And their heart say nothing about it. It doesn't bother them praying Fajr at 10 o'clock. But a person who's consistent worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you miss Fajr, you get upset. How comes, what did I do? Maybe I should have slept early next time. The alarm, maybe I forgot to put the alarm on. Because he or she, their heart is not rested, except when they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's some people commit sin, and they become happy of committing the sin. But if a person commits a sin and they realize that they disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they get upset. The same thing for shahwa. That how would you control your desire? The desire sometimes is the one who controls the heart. Saying, I feel this way, do it this way. And then the heart become occupied with sins, with desires. But if the heart is the one that disciplines the desires, then sometimes you might desire something and you're going to say to it, not now. Not going to happen. You're going to put it off. Just like a person fasting. When a person fasts, they're controlling their desire. From the morning to evening, they're not eating, they're not drinking. But human body desire food, desire water, but the person is able to control it. And then he said something very interesting. Our desires, our feeling, emotions, all kinds of emotions, those are the companions of the journey. Either they become the obstacles in our journey toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we miss our destination of the ultimate happiness. There's something called infinite happiness. You know, all happiness in this world are what?
Finite.
Huh?
Finite.
Temporary. Finite. The infinite is where? When we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah. That's the ultimate happiness. The infinite happiness. Because now nothing in this world is perfect. Everything you desire, even when we get it, it doesn't come trouble-free. Therefore, your heart will never, ever have the ultimate pleasure. Always is limited. And therefore, the ultimate pleasure should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. هناك ترتاح القلوب. That's why the heart rested. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. Then the heart have the joy and the happiness and the comfort because it remembers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الذين آمنوا تطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. That is, those who believe and their heart get rest and comfort in the remembrance of Allah. Very surely, only in the remembrance of God Almighty you have this comfort. طيب وللقلب جند آخر وهو العلم والحكمة والتفكر. The other soldiers of the heart is knowledge, wisdom, and contemplation and reflection. والتفكر كما سيأتي شرحه سيد I will explain it later. وأقوى يستعين بهذا الجند. If a person were to seek support from this soldier, then the person is as with the party of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he have ability to conquer the other two soldiers. Najib, are you with me?
Yes.
Said what?
The heart has another army, which is knowledge, wisdom, and reflection, the explanation of which will follow. It should gain the assistance of this army, for it is the party of God, the exalted, against the two other armies, for they may join themselves to the party of Satan. If it neglects this help and it gives the army of anger and appetence dominion over itself, it will surely perish and suffer a manifest loss. This is the state of the majority of people, for their intellects have been forced by their appetence to labor at devising stratagems to satisfy the appetence, whereas appetence should be forced by their intellects to labor at that which the mind needs.
Yes. Oh, let's stop here. And we're going to give 3 examples of that. Let me, share with you that we have young people, or people in general, who have desired something that they know from their faith perspective, from the religious perspective, from the Islamic perspective, they cannot do. And they get frustrated. How comes religion really does not allow me to commit this sin or that sin or this kind of act or that kind of act? And that person becomes so upset with the fact that he cannot do this because his or her vertical relationship with God Almighty is not that strong. And he's dealing with the set of laws of do and don'ts. And he or she cannot logically explain that. How comes my friends are doing it? How cannot I do this? This kind of thing. Then what does that person do then? In order for him to set himself free in his mind, to be able to do whatever they like to do, they throw the whole religion out. They throw the baby with what? Bathwater. They said, okay, I'm not Muslim anymore. I'm not religious anymore. I have doubt about God himself. And therefore, don't tell me that, I can do this or I cannot do that. I don't believe in this. This because religion had been explained always about a set of laws. And the religion is not that. The laws within religion, it meant to explain the vertical relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That relationship, it meant to elevate human being against the whims and the desires of doing the wrong things. And in every religion, there are certain things not permissible. Every religion. in Islam, those things have been stated by the Quran and teaching of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You cannot do particular things. Things are prohibited. Now, there are certain things that are universal prohibited, like killing innocent person, taking innocent people's life. All that's prohibited. This is universal law. Quran says so. The Torah says so. من قتل نفسا بغير نفس فساد في الأرض كأنما قتل الناس جميعا. You can killing people, taking innocent people's life is prohibited by Islam, and you have the Old Testament, the Torah, and so forth. Stealing, theft, and so forth. All of the things are sins are prohibited in universal laws, but all of them stem from other factors. Why do you think people kill each other? What is the major sin led to sin of killing?
Not having a relationship with Allah.
Not having a relationship with God Almighty. But that manifests in what? Because Imam Ghazali is going to go deep into this. He mentioned one thing called ghadab, anger. Anger lead to grudge. Grudge lead to resentment. Resentment lead to revenge. And that's why people kill one another. Uncontrolled anger, it leads to killing. And anger comes from envy and jealousy. All of that are interconnected chain of sins. But if a person were to purify their heart from jealousy, from hatred, from grudge, then that person, when they get angry, they got angry only when they see something injustice being committed, wrong thing being committed, and even at that, the heart control them from not transgress against others. You cannot justify that I'm angry, then I'm going to take some innocent people's life. Two mistakes do not make it right. You cannot fight injustice with committing injustice. You cannot do that. Then the same thing for desires. If you just feel good, just do it. It's not correct that everything you feel good is just do it. There's a limitation of that, even in secular laws. Not everything that you feel good and you want to do it, you can do it. There's a limitation for it. Okay? Therefore, it is very important that to think about this idea of ilm, knowledge, and hikmah, and reflections as a means and ways of having to realize why we cannot do this. What is the infinite wisdom behind this? What is the kind of things that we need to think about of, from the text that Quran have stated or the Sunnah stated, that we need to say why I cannot, have relationship before marriage, physical relationship. People say, what harm is that? Two people consent to a relationship. Islam said you cannot do that. Okay. One person said, what's wrong of me smoking marijuana? I'm not hurting anyone. Islam said you cannot do that. Okay. Therefore, but we cannot deal with these issues in vacuum. Our problem is that we don't counsel people right counseling. We tell people this is prohibited in Islam, this is prohibited in Islam. The person said to you, I'm struggling with it. Can you explain to me how I cannot do it? You have to remind the person the frame of reference first. What is your frame of reference? I believe in God. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in the Prophet? Do you believe in the Quran? Yes. Then let us think about what makes particular things is not acceptable. What makes things as a sin from the Islamic perspective? What is it? If a person then come to realize that, come to understand that, then that person by themselves will understand. But you cannot just, especially critical thinking today among young people. Even your children, 10 years old, tell them what to do something, you said what? What the big question they said? Why? Why I cannot do it? If this is say just I say so, it doesn't fly. you have to explain why you cannot do that. طيب. He says, فإن عقولهم صارت مسخرة لشهواتهم. He said most of the people, their intellect becomes submitting to their desires. They justified intellectually their desire. They state to you, it makes sense. A person take their desires, they want to follow their desires, they have all kinds of justification. Why should they do it? في استنباط الحيل لقضاء الشهوة. استنباط الحيل. A person to find ways and means to justify it. What he said, الحيل?
Devising stratagems.
Yes, they have this kind of all being smart. You know, like an example, people have greed and they want to make money, but they want to have shortcut making money. What they do, they make a contract with the fine letters that the person cannot see even wearing their glasses. Say, sign this contract. And a person signed the contract, and later they come to know that he or she got stuck with a contract that's not fair. Or people do businesses with people that they might not be competent. You see that all the time. You know how many times you see somebody says, but you do this, but no one's gonna know. Or do this, how do we gonna, they will realize what you. Allah knows. A woman asked her daughter to mix milk with water. And the daughter said, but that's not this against the law. I can't increase the quantity of the milk by mixing those water. She said to her that it's illegal. She said, who made it illegal? She said, Omar made it illegal. She said, what is he now? He doesn't see us. I'm asking, but you and I mix it. Let me say something very specific, important. No one should try to do something immoral, even if it is legal. If it's immoral, don't do it. Avoid it in all costs. Say, I'm not going to do this. It's immoral for me to do it. Therefore, no matter how much, tricks I have on shortcuts, I can get it through, I'm not going to get it. ونحن نقرب ذلك إلى فهمك بثلاثة أمثلة. He said, I'm going to bring this meaning closer to you with 3 examples. المثال الأول أن نقول مثل نفس الإنسان في بدنه أعني بالنفس اللطيفة. This is the soul of a person, the spirit of a person. كمثل ملك في مدينته ومملكته. Like a king in his city or his dominion. فإن البدن مملكة النفس. Your body is the dominion of your soul. وعالمها ومستقرها ومدينتها. It's considered like the city. The العالم meaning the walls of it. وجوارحها وقواها بمنزلة الصناع والعملة. And the limbs and the organs, like the people, the workers and people the laborers, the labor of it. والقوة العقلية المفكرة له كالمشير الناصح والوزير العاقل. And the intellect, like a consultant, like a minister that advise the soul. والشهوة, the desire, like a slave. Okay? That bring only food and things to the city. والغضب, anger and rage, like a police. Therefore, he gave all of this example so beautiful. Let me explain to you this. Why Imam al-Ghazali gave you this vision of your body? He said your body like what? Like a city or castle. Your soul is the king. Now, he says shahwa like slave. Because when we follow our shahwa, we become enslaved in ourselves. A person who is following his or her desire all the times, they are not free people. That's why Ali Shariati, one of the scholars, philosopher, he said freedom when you submit to no one except to God Almighty. When you free yourself from the whims and desires, and then only you have break the shackles and you set yourself free. Because freedom, it is not for you to do the wrong thing. Freedom, when you do the right things, even if it's not comfortable. You know, you have the free will to do X or Y, but you know it's harmful. It's not the right thing to do. That when you don't do them, you are free. When you commit them, you're enslaved. The concept of slavery is the slavery of whims and desires. And الناس عبيد شهواتهم. They become slaves of their desires. And therefore, if your soul is the king that need right advice. What the right advice? It has to come from a consultant or the minister. The minister is your intellect. If I use my intellect to give my soul a wrong advice by justifying a sin intellectually, he said, by the way, I can write theses on how to justify a sin. I'm become judgmental to my soul. I'm giving my soul ill advice. I'm corrupting my soul. And therefore, a person has to use their intellect and ability to think to uplift their spiritual status, not to bring it down. You have not seen that? People write argument, intellectual argument, and so forth to justify sins. The jawarih, the limbs, as the labor. The soul is the king. If you get ill advised, you're going to send what? Wrong order. To what? To the limbs. Okay? When you send wrong order to limbs, and then the limbs will commit the sin. Now, but there's an actual need in the city for everybody, including the king. It's food to sustain. In order for you to be a living being, you need to eat. And eating is what? Is a desire of food. There's certain desire make human beings survive. Using the desire in the wrong way and following the desire in absolute way, you suspend the intellectual ability, you corrupt the soul, and you give the wrong order to the limbs. That's why he called the shahwa a slave. It has to listen to the king. Right. قال والعبد الجالب للميرة كذاب ماكر وخداع خبيث يتمثل بصورة الناصح وتحت نصح الشر الحائل والسم القاتل وديدنه وعادته منازعة الوزير الناصح في آرائه وتدبيراته حتى لا يخلو من منازعته ومعارضته ساعة كما أن الوالي في مملكته كان مستغنيا في تدبيراته بوزيره ومستشيرا له ومعرضا عن إشارة هذا العبد الخبيث مستدلا بإشارته في أن الصواب في نقيض رأيه الصواب في نقيض رأيه. Can you read the English and then I will explain this.
The slave who brings the provisions is a liar, a deceiver, an impostor, and a malicious person who plays the role of a sincere advisor. while beneath his advice there is dreadful evil and deadly poison. It is his wont and his custom to contend against every plan that the wise minister makes, so that not even for an hour does he cease his contention and opposition to his minister's opinions. When the ruler in his kingdom seeks the advice of his minister and shuns the counsel of the vile slave, inferring indeed from his counsel that the right course is that which is contradictory to his opinion. And when the chief of police disciplines him and brings him under the authority of the minister and causes him to be under his orders, empowering him on his part over this vile slave and his followers and helpers, so that the slave is under authority and not the possessor of it, and so that he, the slave, is subject to the orders and directions, and not the one who gives the orders and directions. Then the rule of the king's state is upright, and then justice is ordered because of him. That's the
Yes.
paragraph.
We can use the word slave as replaced with the word servant. We can use also word servant. Your shahwa, your desires, meant to serve your body and to body your existence. You cannot be the controlling of your body and the controlling of your intellect. He's saying that if the shahwa go wild and overshadow the intellect and then corrupt the soul, then the person become like animals. Have you seen some people commit crime and being asked, why did you do this? What they say sometimes? I don't know. I don't know why. How comes I committed? Meaning, at the time they suspend their intellect, their ability to think, the ability to reflect, and they disconnect themselves, their soul, from the connection with God Almighty. And then that person follow the whims and the desires. And why do you think that people committing mass murders, mass killing? What happened to their heart? What happened to their intellect? Can you explain? It's been suspended. They have this shahwa of anger of wild beast as start taking people's life because nor their heart or their mind or their soul intact, being corrupted with those whims and the desires that took the control over it. Instead of become the servant, become the one giving order. Then he says, فكذا النفس متى استعانت بالعقل وأدبت بحمية الغضب وسلطتها على الشهوة واستعانت بإحداهما على الأخرى تارة بأن تقلل مرتبة الغضب ولوائي بمخالفة الشهوة واستدراجها وتارة بقمع الشهوة وقهرها بتسليط الغضب والحيمة عليها وتقبيح مقتضياتها احتلت قواها وحسنت أخلاقها ومن عدل عن هذه الطريقة كان كمن قال تعالى أفرأيت من اتخذ إلهه هواه وأضله الله على علم وقال تعالى واتبع هواه فمثله كمثل الكلب إن تحمل عليه يلهث وإن تتركه يلهث وقال عز وجل في من نهى النفس عن الهوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى. Subhanallah. He said the following, that you have to remember to create a balance within yourself. You cannot abandon your desires as a human being. Can you live without food? You have to fulfill those needs. But also you have to control the needs. The same thing that, can you live a life without getting upset or angry with something? You have to be unhappy with something to improve. But let your anger controlling you and rage controlling you is not acceptable. The whole idea, you have to live a balanced life. You have to live a balanced life. That you have to balance your desires of needs with your spiritual needs, and all of this has to be controlled with your thinking, right thinking and understanding. Because if your desire to control you, then you have to start justifying the sin. There's some people justify all kind of behavior. You know, you call it excuse and being defensive and having excuse. You say that to all the people. I don't like to hear an excuse. You've been doing wrong things, and instead the person, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. The person says, let me tell you, I have this and that, and justification. always have a reason to justify the wrongdoing. It's not acceptable. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. For the person who fear the day that he or she will stand by the Lord, in front of the Lord, خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He disciplined his soul from the whims and the caprice and the desires. وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Paradise will be their abode. The opposite of it, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهُ هَوَاهُ. A person have taken their desire as their God. Whatever their desire says, they follow. You know, one of the scholars, he desired halal thing. He desired fish. He asked his wife, he said, can you go get us fish? She went to the fish market and found the guy, the fisherman, selling fish, but all he has a last fish. He said, there's all what left. She bought it. She went home and prepared for her husband, and she put it before him. Said, this is your food. The husband wanted to eat. A person knocked the door. The person knocked the door. He said, I'm hungry. I want to eat. The husband said, give him the fish. He said, what are you talking about? This is the last fish. I made it. He said, give it to him. Because Allah says, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا ما تحبون. Allah will not have you to reach the virtue and the righteousness until you spend from what you love. ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا. They provide the food, although they love it, to the miskin, the poor and the needy and the prisoners. He said, therefore, I'm listening to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm giving this. What I desire, I'm giving it away. You could have given him the left biryani or the cold pizza, called magluba. Okay? Or for those Sudanese who are watching, maybe molokhia and weka. But he gave him what he desired. As-Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha, she gives everything she owns. Human desires. He made the wealth, but she gave it all. Today, people, the idea of the desire to become God is being glorified so much. People in this coming generations of internet, social media, and so forth, the slogan is, if you feel good, just what?
Do it.
Just do it. And I would say, not everything feels good is good. Because your desires, your feeling, and so forth can have you live in an illusion and deceive you. Therefore, Imam al-Ghazali here, rahimahullah, beautifully, quoting those verses, قال وسيأتي كيفية مجاهدة هذه الجنود وتسليط بعضها على بعض في كتاب رياضة النفس إن شاء الله تعالى. He has developed a system. How do you balance, is it Maghrib time? How to balance yourself and to control your desires, and we'll inshallah we'll cover that next week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن